So what's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we have another NBA mock draft, but this one we're gonna have a little twist on it. So instead of keeping all our uniform picks 1 through 30, we're gonna be making some trades in this mock draft, and I'm gonna make probably a little bit more trades than there will be on draft night. Obviously there's not going to be, let's say, 5 lottery picks traded or 4 lottery picks traded on draft night, but in this one, who knows? Maybe I'll have that. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go into the description, submit your video ideas, and let's get right into it. So with the first 2 picks, I'm not really going to change up what I do usually. Neither of the picks will be traded. With number 1, I'm going to go Alex Sarr out of France. And with number 2, I'm going to go Zachary Sachet, also out of France. That doesn't really change for me. There's still my 1 and 2 guys in this class right now. If Sachet does go 1, I won't hate it. I just think Sarr is just the better prospect, where it would be bad if you passed up on Sarr. It also would stop you from having a Sarr and a Kongu front court for the future, which I think would also be fairly good. So we're going to go Sarr number 1, and obviously if Sarr is not available at number 2, the Wizards would be very dumb to not take Zachary Sachet. So with number 3, we have the Houston Rockets, and this is going to be my first trade of the mock draft. So here's what I'm thinking. We're going to have the Rockets end up getting Mikal Bridges and Noah Clowney, and the Rockets sending off Dylan Brooks, Jock Lawndale, and the Nets 2024, 25, 26, and 27 first round picks. The 24 first round pick is pick 3, so that will go to the Brooklyn Nets. And my sort of reasoning around this, obviously the Rockets are looking to try to start winning now. So getting Mikal Bridges will be big. Dylan Brooks, the way this team's heading, doesn't really feel like he fits the timeline. Whether they move on for Fred VanVleet next year or just because he's on a 3-year, $20 million deal, that's just not good. They're also going to throw in Jock Lawndale to get off of his contract. With Steven Adams being back this year, they don't really need him on a 3 years, $8 million contract. And for the Nets, throwing in Mikal Bridges, it's the main trade piece. And Noah Clowney, I think they're going to try their hardest to keep Noah Clowney in this deal. But if they do have to get rid of him to get the job done, then they'd probably do that. The Rockets also need a little bit more big depth with moving on from Jock Lawndale. And you could argue that Noah Clowney would do the same as Jock Lawndale, if not better, next year in this Rockets system. Or maybe who just won't play at all. There's a real chance that happens as well. But here's the trade. We're going to have the Nets end up getting the 3rd overall pick. And with that pick, probably going to lean a. Actually, I forgot to. All right, with this pick, I'm probably going to lean a defensive guard to put next to Cam Thomas because we're going to consider that our backcourt. I'm not going to say for the future because Cam Thomas, we'll see if he's their guard for the future, but just our backcourt going into next season. If we don't want to sign a veteran there, obviously we do have Dennis Schroeder, but I'd like to get someone a little bit more defensively focused. So I'm probably going to lean between Stephon Castle and Ron Holland. And at this current moment, I probably would take Stephon Castle at pick 3 for the Brooklyn Nets. I think it's a great fit. Obviously, stores near Brooklyn, or not near Brooklyn, but like it's not far away from Brooklyn. It's not like they're picking. I don't even know where G League Ignite is located, but close. He's coming back to Brooklyn, where they played the first 2 rounds, I believe, in March Madness. So maybe he'll play well there again. But yeah, pick 3, a backcourt of Stephon Castle and Cam Thomas next year sounds pretty good. For pick 4, the San Antonio Spurs, I'm actually going to have some backstory behind this pick because we're going to be making another trade, but not with pick 4. Now, here's what I have for the Cleveland Cavaliers San Antonio Spurs trade. We're going to have the Spurs acquiring Darius Garland and letting go of Keldon Johnson, Malachi Branham, and the 8th overall pick. Obviously, we have Darius Garland, the main piece in this trade, going to the Spurs, a team who's looking to give Victor Wembanyama a main ball handler, someone who could feed him in the post. And for the Cavaliers, we get Keldon Johnson, who can plug and play right away as that starting shooting guard or small forward next year. We'll see how they build the rest of the team. We have Malachi Branham, who was fairly solid last year. I think he averaged around 9 points on okay efficiency. And then we have pick 8. If you don't like Malachi Branham in this deal because he's still a young former first-round pick, I understand that. But with the Spurs getting Darius Garland and already having Trey Jones, kind of feels like he's the odd man out in that guard rotation. Here's the trade, though, and I think it's sort of fair for both sides. So now with pick 4, we have the San Antonio Spurs. Keeping in mind we just traded for a point guard, I'm going to actually go away from the usual guard route I go here, with whether it's a Toppage or Dillingham, even a Collier, even though I don't think we've ever had him this high. So instead, with pick number 4, I'm actually going to take someone I haven't really taken this high before. It's going to be Matas Buzelis out of the G League Ignite. I think he's a great player to fit right next to that, right at the 3 or 4 position next to Victor Wembanyama. and I guess Jeremy Shohan. We'll see where he stands in that lineup next year. But Buzelis was a great shooter out of high school, wasn't that good in or at the G League Ignite. We'll see if he can get that 3-point shot back to where we know it can be and be a very solid NBA player with the 4th overall pick. Is it a little bit of a reach? Maybe. Would you rather a Ron Holland here? Maybe um maybe even a guard like Gillingham or Shepard? Possibly, but I'm actually going to go with Matas Buzelis at pick number 4. At pick 5, we have the Detroit Pistons, and this is going to be one of the picks where I don't trade it, and I'm actually going to stay right here and take Reed Shepard out of Kentucky. Um, is it the biggest positional need? Probably not. But with Zach Rissachet off the board, I think Reed Shepard's the next guy where I take for him, where I take for them, the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons are in desperate need of shooting right now after losing Bojan Bogdanovic during the trade deadline and Quentin Grimes not being the most efficient. Let's go get another guard in there to fill that hole in terms of shooting. Will he play behind Jaden Ivey year one? Honestly, I don't know because apparently Monty Williams doesn't love him that much. But down the line, Ivy could potentially be moved. Reed Shepard could slide right into that shooting guard position. And a backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Reed Shepard sounds pretty good to me. But yeah, that team needs shooting, and Reed Shepard is one of the best shooters in this draft class. At 6, we have the Charlotte Hornets. This is going to be another one of those picks where I don't trade. I'm gonna stick here, and usually I end up drafting Stephon Castle for them at pick 6. But with him being off the board, I'm gonna go with a similar mold of player in terms of a great defensive wing slash guard. I'm gonna go with Ron Holland here at pick 6. I think this is probably where his ceiling is right now. I don't think he can go any higher than 6. And I doubt if he falls out of the lottery, but apparently he's working out with teams like the Lakers. So if he does, and the Lakers would get a good one there. But yeah, he's a similar player to Stephon Castle. He's one of the best on-ball defenders in this draft class. The jump shot, like Stephon Castle, isn't fully there, but I think playing between LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller would be great for his development. And maybe he doesn't really have to fully develop that jump shot if it's just going to be that defensive lockdown perimeter guy at the 2. So it's a great pick for the Hornets at 6, and now with the Blazers at 7. I'm going to keep my usual pick for the Blazers at 7, despite guys like Topic and Dillingham falling. I'm going to head with Donovan Clingan here. Like I said before, or in my previous mock drafts, it's one of my favorite team to players fit, and with Donovan Clingan potentially being that future running mate of Scoot Henderson next year, down the line in the future, can get down with that. DeAndre Ayton obviously still there. I'm not sure if he's that center they want to keep for the long run. He's making a lot of money. Feels like there are other teams that we're trying to win now that can maybe use another big man. And let's just get some insurance back there with Donovan Clingan, who has one of the highest floors in this NBA draft class, in this 2024 class, where it's kind of hard to see him fail in the NBA, whether it's being a role player or whether it's being more than that. But it's a great fit for the Blazers at 7. And at pick 8, we're actually going to have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the Cavs can go in a bunch of different directions here at pick 8. We have to keep in mind, obviously, they lost Darius Garland and they got back Keldon Johnson and Malachi Branham. So you could argue they have that 2/3 spot shored up with Max Strus and Keldon Johnson. But maybe they want to get another guy in there. Maybe they want to get another guard too. I doubt they look at a guy like Rob Dillingham because that's kind of similar to what Darius Garland brought you, and we saw that Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland not work. So why would Donovan Mitchell and Rob Dillingham work? We could maybe go with a guy like Don't Connect. I think he's probably a similar mold to what Max Strus will bring you, so I'm not sure about that one. Maybe we could think of possibly Nikola Topic, but I think I can have him continue to keep falling here. I think at pick 5, I'm going to lean. I actually think I'm going to do something a little bit different. I know he's rated a little bit lower on my board, but I think I'm going to go ahead and take Devin Carter here with the 8th overall pick. Gives them more guard depth right now because obviously it's really just Donovan Mitchell. Ricky Rubio is no longer in that team, but it's Donovan Mitchell. I'm talking about guys who play the point guard position. It's him and Craig Porter Jr. and I guess Malachi Branham. I want to get another guy in there, a guy who I know can bring very good minutes right away to an NBA roster, a team who's trying to make the playoffs. I mean, they're already in the playoffs, a team that's trying to make a deep run in the playoffs. I think Devin Carter can do that for you right away. He's going to demand minutes right away because he's that good of a player. And this is the highest I've ever had Devin Carter, but I started to like his game more and more as the draft process has gone on. I like him at pick 8 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here at pick 9, I'm going to have another trade be made. I'm going to have the Grizzlies send Luke Kennard and Zaire Williams in pick 9 for the Toronto Raptors for Jakob Poeltl in the 31st overall pick. So here's my sort of reasoning behind it. I think the Grizzlies get their center in Jakob Poeltl to play um, right next to Jaren Jackson Jr. That's a very solid defensive front court, and giving up Luke Kennard, who's a 1 year deal, is not too valuable at $14 million. Zaire Williams, who's just hasn't really panned out for that team. They drafted him pretty high, but he just hasn't been efficient at all. And obviously, pick nine for the Raptors. They're getting rid of Jakob Poeltl, which could seem like a big deal because they no longer really have that starting center on their roster right now. But they're gonna bank on someone being available at pick 19. And then having to throw in the 31st overall pick. I think that can actually be very valuable when we think about it, because that 31st overall pick is no longer going to be on the same night as the first round draft picks. That's going to be the next day, or a whole day of draft talk or of trade talks can happen with that pick. So the 31st overall pick doesn't have to be rushed. It could be traded, and realistically, when we think about it, there's going to be a lot of solid prospects available right outside the first round, and the Grizzlies can have a really solid trade piece with that 31st overall pick if they don't want to use it. But at pick nine, I mean realistically, I could probably end up throwing a little bit more from the Raptors or from the Grizzlies to the Raptors. Maybe Kennard, Williams and nine's a little too much for Pirtle, but we'll see. But at pick nine, doesn't really matter. We have the Toronto Raptors. I think I'm gonna end up giving them Nikola Topic here out of Serbia. I think if there's going to be a trade made, it'd either be for Rob Dillingham or Nikola Topic, one of the top prospects who fall. And it's just a really solid point guard. He tore his ACL, or partially tore his ACL, I believe. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? So I don't know if he'll be ready for the season. He probably won't be ready for pre-draft workouts, so that'll be tough. But I think it's definitely worth the risk at pick nine. He's probably not going to play right away. You have guards still, and guys like Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, even I guess Scotty Barnes, if you want to consider him guard. I think it's just a really solid point guard pick at pick nine. He can develop under that Raptor system where they've developed very solid players, and it's a good fit. At pick 10, we have the Utah Jazz. I think this is a team that could definitely go in a couple different directions. I don't think I'm going to trade it, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of ways we can go with this pick. Could look at possibly Rob Dillingham. Could look at maybe a Don't Connect or if Cody Williams. I think I'm going to end up giving them Rob Dillingham out of Kentucky. I know it's not the greatest fit with Keontae George there as well, but I just don't really see how or if Rob Dillingham falls all the way past Big Ten and lands right in the Bulls' laps. I think the Jazz will be able to snag him. Will the defense be great right away with Rob Dillingham, Keontae George backcourt? Definitely not. Will Rob Dillingham have to start right away? Probably not. I mean, you do have Colin Sexton there, Taylor Morton Tucker, but yeah, it's just tough to see him fall. So I'm gonna have the Jazz take him here at pick 10 and stop the fall of Rob Dillingham. And that's kind of like the first group of point guards we have going out of this draft. I guess we do have Isaiah Collier as well, but that's not really going to change my pick here at 11. We have the Chicago Bulls. I've said how I wanted this team to blow it up so many times, and I think before the NBA draft, I'm going to have one more mock draft where it's just going to be what I would do for the team. And at pick 11 for the Chicago Bulls, I'm going to go away from guys like Cody Williams and Isaiah Collier. I'm going to go ahead and give them a Dalton Connect, someone who could be very solid for them right away, space the floor, and because the Bulls aren't trying to blow it up, they're going to continue to look to get guys who can help them win right now, and Dalton Connect will do just that. Pick 12, we have the Thunder. Am I going to buy into the Cody Williams, Jalen Williams brother duo? Yes, I am. He's going to go to pick 12 for the OKC Thunder. Doesn't have to play right away. Probably won't play right away, but we know how the Thunder like to stock up on these younger wings. We're able to really do it all on the floor. I mean, think about Ousmane Dieng from recently. But yeah, Cody Williams, very solid. He's not very similar play style to his brother. I'd say he's a lot more raw coming out of college than what J Dub was out of Santa Clara. But he's a solid shooter, not at high volume, but still a solid shooter. He's a very good defender. He moves quick on his feet, and he's a very smart playmaker as well at that wing position. At pick 13, we have the Sacramento King. I'm going to have him stay with this pick, not trade it. I'm going to have him take Jared McCain here at pick 13. Malik Monk, as sad as it sounds, is most likely going to be gone in free agency because he's going to be paid a lot of money by a team like maybe the 76ers or the Orlando Magic, and the Kings just can't pay him that. So maybe getting a little replacement here in Jared McCain, who, unlike Tyrese Halliburton from a couple years ago, doesn't need the ball in his hands to be a great player. He can play off ball. He's a great spot up shooter, and it's exactly what the Kings need. And realistically, Jared McCain will be in that lineup going into next season. Pick 14, we have the Portland Trailblazers, the last pick in the lottery. Now, I think there are a couple of players who I would hate to see slip out of the lottery here. Isaiah Collier, Jacoby Walter, Tijan Salon, and Tristan De Silva. But with there only being one pick left, obviously they can't all go here. So there's going to be a lot of good talent slipping out of the lottery. Pick 14 though, I think I'm going to go forward here. So I'm going to lean away from guys like Collier and Jacoby Walter. And I'm actually going to give them Tijan Salon out of France to be a solid front court member, maybe for the future next to Donovan Clingan. But right now, will he play right away? It's going to be tough to say. Will he be G Leaguer? Most likely. I mean, if Scoot Henderson was last year, then I doubt that Tijan Salon won't be. But for the future front court in Salon and Donovan McClingan, that makes me pretty happy if I were a Portland Trailblazers fan. So I'm going to take that at pick 14. I think the Blazers have had a very good first round so far. At 15, we have the Miami Heat, and with their guy off the board, and Devin Carter, son of Anthony Carter, former NBA player, we're going to probably still look for that guard position. I kind of like the idea of Isaiah Collier kind of filling that Kyle Lowry build that they had, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, just being a very solid, stocky point guard who's able to move the rock, play the game the right way, be able to hit the three ball, play make for others. And I kind of like that for the Miami Heat at pick 15. Could I possibly see a team come in and trade down to or trade up looking to get Isaiah Collier? Maybe, but I'm not really sure what team here at pick 15 could realistically do that. Could the 76ers do that? Maybe, but they really do not want to give up any extra draft capital slash players in this trade. I don't really see the Lakers doing it. The Magic, I doubt it. I think they'd more look for players in free agency. The Raptors, we already made a trade with them. They would not want to give up more capital. The Pelicans, maybe, possibly the Pelicans, but again, with them trying to be a win now team, why would they need to trade up for a freshman guard? And after that, really, the Suns wouldn't do it, the Bucks wouldn't do it, the Knicks wouldn't do it. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna stick and pick here for the Miami Heat. We're gonna give them Isaiah Collier to be maybe their next Kyle Lowry. Who knows? Pick 16, we have the 76ers. I think this is another team that can go in a lot of different directions. And I think I'm going to stick and pick with this pick, or with this draft pick, because they really have no choice but to get a guy that can help them win right now. This team barely has any players on their roster going into next year. They're going to have to make a lot of moves in free agency, whether that's bringing in more guys or bringing their guys back. And at pick 16, I'm going to give them Tristan De Silva to be a very solid front court member. Won't be a starter. He doesn't have to be a starter, but he can bring you a punch off the bench for sure. And a lot of versatility at that forward position, being able to shoot the three, play very solid defensive play make for others. I think it's a great pick at pick 16 for the 76ers, and I think this is a round where we could see Tristan Silva go in real life. Pick 17, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. But you know what? Actually, at pick 17, I'm going to be making another trade. I'm going to have the Lakers giving up Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood, and the 17th overall pick to the Toronto Raptors for Kelly Olynyk, Ochai Agbaji, and the 19th overall pick, the two Jazz guys they got at last year's, or was that last year's deadline? The two Jazz guys that they got, though, are going to be shipped to the Lakers along with that 19th overall pick. For the Lakers side of things, I think they need to continue to get more big depth who are able to stretch the floor. I think Kelly Olynyk can do that for you. Ochai Agbaji, I know there's the ongoing joke of that players can't shoot once they get on the Lakers. But maybe Agbaji can be different. Maybe Agbaji can carve out a role as a backup solid shooter for them. And then it's just the 19th overall pick for the Toronto Raptors. You're really just taking on Gabe Vincent and Christian Wood, but you're trading up 2 spots at pick 17. Honestly, maybe you're not taking on Gabe Vincent. He could be a very solid backup guard for you next season, but he just was not good for the Lakers last year at all. Barely played, was injured. There was a lot of stuff that went into it. And then them getting up to pick 17 is just for the sole reason that pick 17 and pick 18, we have two teams that could very realistically take big man in the Lakers and the Orlando Magic. And with the guys currently on the board right now, Nicolai Ware, Yves Missi, and Zach Edey, I think that the Toronto Raptors would be very comfortable trading up just a couple of spots to make sure none of their guys are taken off the board and where they're able to take the first guy off the board. Really, for the Toronto Raptors, it's just rebuilding that whole front court from the ground up, or I guess that big man depth from the ground up. We lose Kelly Olynyk. We're going to be losing Jakob Poeltl. We still have guys like Mohamed Gay, and Chris Boucher, but it's time to get younger. It's time to get more athletic, and I'm actually going to give them. Actually, I gotta trade this, and I gotta plug in my computer apparently. Pick 17, I'm going to be giving the Toronto Raptors, I think I'm gonna go Eves Messi. If they if they do move Kelly Olynyk and Jakob Poeltl on draft night, does Yves Missi start right away? I highly doubt it. I assume they're gonna try to bring in someone out of free agency. But down the line, Yves Missi can be your starting center. I think he kind of fits what Masai Ujiri wants to build for this Raptors team a little bit more than what Kalal Ware and Zach Edey would do for you. But Yves Missi, he improved his back down game a lot, or just his one-on-one post game a lot during the season. Before he was really just a lob threat, very solid interior defender on the other side of the ball. But him being able to face up, take a dribble, get a spin move, get a post move in the post, drop step, whatever it is, will be very, very good for the Raptors going forward. And maybe if he's able to hit his threes as well, you might have yourself your potential future starting center here in Yves Missi. So I'm gonna have him go 17 to the Toronto Raptors. Pick 18, we have the Magic, and I think that they're pretty mad that Yves Missi just went off the board because I probably would have gave him them at pick 17 or at pick 18. But here at 18, we have a couple of different decisions, and possibly we could trade this pick as well. So at pick 18, I'm gonna have the Orlando Magic getting Walter here. Um, but Jacoby Walter at 18, he will not play right away from you. I think he could be a guy, maybe next year's playoffs or next year's playoffs, or like, it's not because he was not in rotation at all. But Jacoby Walter, there is someone switch guard. Kitty Plus would possibly play that combo guard role. Maybe I don't really trust his ball handling and playmaking enough for him to play that point guard position. But at the shooting guard position, he's a great shooter. He's a solid defender. We'll see how good it is at the next level. And should be a really good fit for the Magic at 18. No pressure. Don't have to play him right away, but I think he's a better prospect than what we saw last year in Jet Howard. With the Lakers at pick 19, I think I'm going to go guard depth. They have signed guys and stuff. Harrington possibly over guys like Keyshawn George, Johnny Furphy and them. So I'm going to give them Bub Carrington here at pick 19. I think this is around his ceiling where he can go as high as he can go. I really like Bub Carrington. He's one of my underrated players in this draft class. And at 19 for the Lakers, maybe you have your future point guard. Maybe you have your backup point guard. Maybe Bub Carrington doesn't even play that that point guard position. Maybe he could slide to the two position. You do have Austin Reeves there, but I think Bub Carrington, very solid combo guard. I picked 20 we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think we should go ahead and get more big depth. Will it be Tyler Smith? Will it be Kalal Ware? I'm not too sure right now. I think I'm going to lean to give them Tyler Smith here. Actually, yeah, I am going to give them Tyler Smith here at pick 20. Could they possibly look at a big in free agency to, I'm not going to say replace, or I'm not going to say replace Jared Allen to be backup big because he's just but getting Tyler Smith could be a very solid, or did I pause it? Yeah. Getting Tyler Smith, I don't know if I showed you guys the pick, but getting Tyler Smith at pick 20, very solid floor spacer, can maybe play that backup. Maybe he could play the backup big. Who knows? I probably would consider him more as a 4, but he's a stretch 4. He's able to stretch the floor, and the thing just went up. But yeah, I'm back here. Tyler Smith can stretch the floor, can maybe play that backup big next year. I think he's a very good fit for the not Toronto Raptors, for the Cleveland Cavaliers at pick 20. At pick 21, we have the um, New Orleans Pelicans. They can go a lot of different directions and happen to. This team can go in a lot of different directions. I think here at 21, I want to go big man. I think there's a couple of guys we can consider here at that power forward position. Possibly Kyle maybe. And that's the position we see. Actually, here at pick 21, I'm going to be making another move. This was the trade I had in my Atlanta Hawks offseason plans, so if you want to get more details, go to that video. But we're going to have DeJounte Murray and Clint Capella going to the Pelicans for Brandon Ingram. Gordon Hawkins, I'm not sure. If I want to throw Dyson Daniels in there instead of him, it depends who the Pelicans value more. I think the Hawks would be fine getting either one of those guys. But yeah, Brandon Ingram, Jordan Hawkins, and the 21st overall pick. Obviously, the main guys in this trade are DeJounte Murray and Brandon Ingram. But the Pelicans also get their starting center next year in Clint Capella because of looking like Valanciunas will leave in free agency. DeJounte Murray can play very good at that starting guard. Um, and for the Hawks, you have Brandon Ingram who can slide right into that starting, whether it's shooting guard, small forward. Jordan Hawkins who could be a very solid shooter off the bench. And the 21st overall pick where you can maybe get some more value. Now, I guess I gotta trade the pick, but in my off-season video, I did have, I was going to say I did have Terrence Smith go at pick 21, and he's no longer on the board, so I'm gonna have to make a different pick. But I can't find the Atlanta Hawks here for some reason. I mean, Suns, Bucks, Knicks, Wizards, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Jazz. There's just no Atlanta Hawks to trade with here, so it's going to say, I can continue scrolling down as well. It's just not here. It's going to say the New Orleans Pelicans, but this trade. Now for the Hawks here, I think they could look at a couple of different directions. I think the main thing though is getting more big depth with moving on from Clint Capella. You did draft Alex Sarr at pick 1, but you have Alex Sarr and Congu right now, and I think you still need more guys there in that front court. You could look at Kel'el Ware, you could look at Zach Edey, and at pick 21, I think I'm going to lean Kel'el Ware. So now we have the Phoenix Suns at pick 22. Kind of annoying we couldn't get the Hawks for pick 21, but it's fine. At 22 though, we have the Suns, and this pick will 100% be traded. Pick 22, we're gonna have another trade. We're gonna have the Phoenix Suns send pick 22 and Nas Little to the Washington Wizards. Marvin Bagley. Right now, the Wizards are getting rid of Marvin Bagley, someone who would have been gone next year anyway. So it's good that they actually got some value back for him, and they're able to get the 22nd overall pick for the Suns. Just more guys who could play basketball at a high level. Marvin Bagley can somewhat do that, and just adding more guys to rotation for the Wizards, they're going to continue building. So at pick 22 for the Washington Wizards, I'm going to have them take Zach Edey, really start right away. Wow, it'd be pretty crazy if he did. But yes, they need big depth very badly right now. I think just move to Mitch and Sean Holmes after trading Bagley. So they need somebody there. Zach Edey, he got straight up to at pick 22. At 22 or 23 for the Bucks, I'm probably going to focus on big man here. Kyle Filipowski's fine here at 23. You could also look at guard, maybe Tyler Kolek. DeRon Holmes would be interesting for them. I still kind of want to go DeRon Holmes here at 23. I haven't gotten him to the first round too much in my recent mock drafts, so I am going to go DeRon Holmes at pick 23 for the Milwaukee Bucks. Glad to get him in the first round. I think that's something that can happen in real life. And yeah, I think it's a good fit for the Bucks as well. Brook Lopez getting older. Maybe they're looking for their next big man to replace him. I think DeRon Holmes can be a very versatile guy going down the road for them. So DeRon Holmes at 23 for the Milwaukee Bucks. We could look at a couple of different positions here. Could look at Keyshawn George maybe. Kyle Filipowski would be interesting. Maybe a guy like Bobby Klintman or Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn if they want to get that defense. But I think I'm going to give them Keyshawn George. I doubt he falls out of the first round, so I think Cynics at 24 would be a pretty good fit for him. I also think he's one of the more underrated players in this draft class as well, to go along with guys like Bud Carrington. I also like Devin Carter a lot. That's why I moved him all the way up to 8. But yeah, Keyshawn George at pick 24 to the New York Knicks. I actually think I'm going to stay here at pick 25. Weren't too many trades I were able to find. So I think I'm just going to stick and get a guy that I think Thibodeau would like in Ryan Dunn, a nice defensive wing who could really guard 1 through 5. And the Knicks just continue getting good defenders and good intangible role players who can help them win down the line. At 26 is the Wizards. We already drafted them, Zachary Sachet and Zach Edey, so we're probably going to look at guard here. I like guys like Tyler Kolek possibly to them, maybe a Kenneth Simpson. Anyone else down the board further? Probably not. Maybe Bronny James, who knows? Could also maybe see Jalen Tyson, Johnny Furphy, Apoko Dadiet. There are a couple good guys on the board right now, but I think I'm probably going to lean more two guard here. And I kind of like the idea of adding Jalen Tyson to this team. He's a guy I think that should still be a first round pick. I know he's kind of not fallen out of the conversations, but hasn't been as cemented as what he's been right after the season ended. But I do think he should go in the first round, so I'm gonna have him go 26 to the Washington Wizards. At pick 27, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they need to get a lead guard, and with Tyler Kolek and Ken Simpson being on the board, they'll pick one of those guys. And I like Tyler Kolek to them, just being a very solid, great facilitator for them right away. Can work next to um, Nickeil Alexander Walker in the second, or in this, yeah, in the second lineup in the backups. Could also work next to guys like Naz Reid. I think overall, Tyler Kolek can definitely play minutes right away in the NBA. And for the Timberwolves, a team that's trying to win right away, I think would be a great fit. At pick 28, we have the Nuggets. I think with guys like Kyle Filipowski, Kevin McCullough, and Furphy on the board, it's going to be tough to pass up on one of those guys. I'm going to give them Johnny Furphy here out of Kansas. I think he probably ends up going a little bit higher on draft day, but 28, you have to take this shot on him. He's going to be a great shooter right away, most likely. Hopefully, can develop into a solid defender as well. I think it's a great fit for the Nuggets, and maybe he's a guy that can potentially play right away as well. So it's a good fit for the Nuggets at 28. 29, we have the Jazz, and I think they're going to probably look for guard at pick 29. I mean, they could also maybe look at big man because um, maybe they don't like their backups at the current moment. Could look at maybe Kyle Filipowski. I kind of like the idea of taking Klintman or Dadiet here at pick 29, though. And I think for the Utah Jazz, I'm going to give them. I just think I'm going to go something a little different. Give me Baylor Sharman out of Creighton. He's a guy that I think can definitely end up being a first round pick. He's one of the best shooters in this draft, if not the best shooter. He's a very good playmaker. He's an elite rebounder for his size. I think at pick 29, the Jazz are going to need someone who can plug and play right away, be a spot-up shooter for you, maybe be your next Joe Ingles. Who knows? I know it's kind of a weak comparison because they're both lefties, but I think they can have similar impacts. At pick 30, we have the Boston Celtics. I'm going to give them Kyle Filipowski here. I think this is the lowest I've ever had him, but as I've continued watching his film, really the least I've liked his game. Just to be honest, he's gonna go 30 here to the Boston Celtics. Not the best defender, not the best shooter. The footwork, it's solid. The touch is solid around the rim, but I don't know how much I'm going to trust at the next level. So that's why I'm going to have him drop to 30 in this mock draft. So here's the mock draft. Definitely interesting. We had a lot of trades in this one. I'm gonna make one more before my last official one, being who I would personally take with every pick, considering I'm not trading any of the picks. Then my last official one where I predict the trades, predict the picks as well. And that's just going to be basing the official draft off of what I have in my last mock draft. Players who might have gone a little high or a little low in this one. I think this is the highest I've had Stephon Castle. Same thing with Montes Buzelis. Um, Devin Carter's, I think it's definitely the highest I've had him. Maybe Topic is a bit low, but the injury is definitely going to set him back. Other than that, I think it's pretty uniform in the set or out of the lottery. Pretty simple. We made a couple of trades with the Raptors and the Lakers. Other than that, though, maybe Zach Edey's a little high. I mean, I don't think so. I think he definitely go 22. I think this is the highest I've had Deron Holmes. This is also probably the highest I've had Baylor Sharman as well. This is probably the lowest I've had Kyle Filipowski. So that's it for this mock draft. Hope you guys liked it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go into the description to submit your video ideas. And yeah, see you next time. Peace.